when you speak that way, the impression you give me is that the government of Nigeria is not doing well.
I said politicians in Africa.
All over the world, anyway. Everywhere in the world. I would like you to challenge me. In fact, what I've said is wrong because these are the counterfacts. Because in Nigeria, when we're losing the debate, we go to the personal. So I would like you to challenge me on issues. Honorable Minister, you say this shouldn't be the case. Then I will come out and tell you this is how it is.
Honorable Minister,
but let me say this. Everybody knew that we didn't perform well in the Olympics. The president spoke out, and expressed his disappointment. The nation expressed its disappointment. We didn't hide the fact we didn't do well. We did not hide the failure of Nigeria in the last Olympics. The president himself came out and spoke. The minister addressed the president in London here to express our disappointment. And we know there are many things that went wrong. And that result is not acceptable to the government and people of Nigeria. It's not deserving of our status as a people, as a nation. And we feel aggrieved that we didn't do well. Having said that, so many things were responsible. And that is why now, at home, the president has called for a total overhaul of the sporting sector in Nigeria. What the president has directed is that we want a national retreat that will bring together all stakeholders from the state level, from the federal level, because all of us take part in managing sports, and the private sector. Let's see, why is it that we invested so much and we didn't get the results? Part of the reality on ground is that for a long while, our management of sports has not been the best. That is the truth. The second is the rest of the world has left us on in terms of facility and training. And that can be ad hoc. And what the president has directed is that we must have targets that go beyond 4 or 5 years. If you have sports in 2016, this is the time to start preparing for it, not to wait until 2015 ending. So this is what the president is changing. Long-term funding, long-term preparation, efficient management, first-class managers of sports, deal with the bureaucracy decisively, look for people on the basis of merit, not sentiment, and then give the professionals the opportunity to run their game. So this is exactly what the president is insisting on. And England didn't do well in Atlanta Olympics in 1996. But now England came third behind the United States and China. So England has just reinvented itself from a failure. We too can reinvent ourselves from our bad performance. We are not hiding it. We are not happy about it. Even the president has spoken out. So we know our people are competitive, we are strong, we are capable, we are confident, but we simply need better organization, better funding, better planning, long-term training, and funding that comes both from government and the private sector. And developing specific sports. We have tried all along to be masters of all trades, and we can't do that. We need to choose specific sports and focus on them that will have competitive advantage and work on them so that when it comes to ABC area, we're sure we'll have something like the Kenyans and the Ethiopians. They have seen long distance running as their area of specialization, and in every Olympic, they win a medal. No matter how bad it is, those two countries, you can be sure they'll win a medal from those sports. Nigeria too must have that kind of planning and vision for our sports. So yes, we didn't do well. We have said so to the rest of the world. We have expressed our disappointment that we didn't do well in the London Olympics, but we think, again, it's an opportunity to recharge, plan, and move forward. Failure can be really a tonic for greater things to happen. But let's not discuss it with self-denigration, but with confidence that we can overcome. And that is where we're heading to.
All right. Okay, let's take one more question from you, Tunde, before we go on this short break.
All right. You talk about, which we know that, all the problems, all the challenges cannot go within a short time. Like the poverty, for instance, which is a fact from National Office of Statistics, over 100 million people living below $1 per day in Nigeria. This is not a foreign agency. Does it not mean that the government of Jonathan, it's the pace at which it hopes to solve the challenges, they are too slow? Maybe the challenges are geographical progression. Government is still moving at arithmetic progression.
Let me also say this.
Slow?
You know, you are bringing this question of statistics for the second quarter.
Absolutely, because with this
great, and I'm so we can't hide it. But again, let me be very sincere with you. I come from rural Nigeria, very, very rural community where there is no modernity until recent times. And I also know that sometimes you cannot use the dollar to reflect the actual living condition of people in certain areas. For example, as a rural person growing up in the village, we have access to free fruits. You can't buy free fruits in England. If I want to take an apple in England, I have to have the dollar to buy it. But in my village, I can go climb any tree. It may be even a wild one, pluck and eat as much as I want. If I quantify that as to the cost of apple in England, I will need so much money. In the village also, I could go to a place and fetch vegetables free from the wild and eat it. I could go to my neighbor's farm and fetch what I want. I could have my own domestic animals in the village. I don't rent them to do things for me. So a lot of the Nigerian economy is not monetized. And so it's very difficult for national statistics to actually capture, you know, unfortunately we have to use the template that the rest of the world knows. But in terms of the rural, informal economy in Nigeria, a lot of the things we use statistics to capture can't really, truly reflect, you know, the real social life and living standards of people. In urban areas, yes, but in most rural areas, the economy is not monetized, and people don't really. I say this: there's poverty in my village, maybe in terms of access to certain modern things, but in terms of food, in terms of nutrition, if I go to my village today, sometimes the children there will live much better than the children in urban areas, because they are farming communities, they have all the things they need, and they don't judge their income on basis of dollar, but availability of resources and what they eat. But having said this, it is not really very true that government policies are slow. No. But policies of reforms take time for certain results to take place. And unfortunately with Nigeria also, because we're used to military rule, we tend to place every challenge on the president. On the one hand, we say we want a true federation, true federalism. Nigerian politicians talk of free federalism, which means that the resources that go, every unit of that federation has a responsibility also to define its policies and give its people, you know, the kind of living standards commensurate with the resources they take from the center. And if you look at Nigeria today, the 36 states, everyone take their money directly from the federation account. Every local government, 774, they take their money directly from the federation account. The president cannot legislate to any governor the kind of policy, the social services, educational services at the local, at the primary and secondary level. They all rest at those levels, units of governance. What we want in Nigeria at the National Economic Council is to discuss how all these units will be able to deploy their resources to effect in terms of raising the living standards. But at the federal level, the policies which we make are giving results. But like I've said here, those results will take a little while more for them to make the kind of impact in terms of numbers of jobs generated, in terms of opportunities that they are giving out, in terms of the quantum of services and goods that are brought on board with the steady investments. But we are heading there. And also a lot of the critique that you see is also partisan political. We live in a partisan environment. So we take it with equanimity. And, you know, we Nigerians are also very outspoken. And sometimes we discuss our country as if it has the worst problems in the world. I was here in London, and I've seen people come to beg for money for me here. You know, so every society has a certain level of challenges, but we must not look at this as if we are the worst. We are not.
All right.
We are walking in the right direction. In several African countries, we are still ahead of many of them. So I'm not going to look backwards, but looking forward, I think that our country, Nigeria, is headed in the right direction. We have a president that is deliberate, that is focused, that is well educated, and that is planning, running Nigeria in a way that is different from the past. What people want is a military head of state who will come and preach us tomorrow, let there be water everywhere. We used to hear that, and there was no water everywhere. But this man highly educated person deliberately is planning the modernization of Nigeria. Some of the attacks we receive are from people who are waiting on government clientele.